Welcome everyone here onto the Wave League Asia edition, and this time it will be the loser bracket final. TREMOR versus Eternal. We do have a beautiful Singularity set for the first set. And dear ladies and gentlemen, I am not alone. I am here joined by the commissioner of the Arcade League, Ray himself. Please say hello and what do you think about this matchup?
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Thanks for the introduction there, Brian. I appreciate it. I'm very excited to cast this set. I know I haven't been able to make a lot here, but the Wave has had some great games, and none other than Eternal and with Nightlight on the killer on Singularity. Normally, you see a lot of teams ban Singularity right off the bat versus a team that Nightlight is on. So I am actually pretty excited to see what this team has in store. They are obviously very confident to not ban the killer versus Nightlight. So, yeah, gonna go ahead and get into the first chase here, and we have none other than Note taking first chase, and Nightlight is gonna elect to hop back into his cameras. Now, normally what I see Nightlight do is he likes to play for his 3-gen. He's very confident that his team always gets outs versus Singularity, so you'll notice that he doesn't tend to overcommit to one particular chase. He's more than willing to let it go if it means that he can protect his 3-gen and kind of hold that for most of the game like he's done so often in the past.
Most definitely, and especially with the perk build that we are just seeing that Nightlight is actually running. We do have Pop, Ghost Weasel, Eruption, Dragon's Grip, and Corporate Intervention, so this is a really gen-focused perk build, and of course with what you said, it fits perfectly into Nightlight's playstyle, especially on the Singularity and especially on the Wrecker's Yard, where things happened also before in some earlier seasons in a different tournament where Elysium actually sadly got 4k wand with Nightlight's really long patience span, and at the end just completely outpatient Elysium. And the question is, will we see that happening against TREMOR as well, or will TREMOR break the 5 gens and will actually be escaping out of this trial? I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, we actually get the first down coming into Angels here. Unfortunately, it's in the basement of Wrecker's Yard, which is in the middle of the map. So Nightlight is going to have a really good strategy to defend that basement hook. It won't be easy to get Angels out of that basement without at least giving up an extra tag or even potentially getting body blocked, right? He can still kind of hold that middle of the map position, see what's going on with his gens and be able to defend the hook. So right now he's actually taking the time, being very patient, not really venturing out too far out. You notice that one of his cameras earlier was disabled very smartly by the survivor, which I believe was Zaphis, and didn't allow Nightlight to get a free pod infection and tag. So again, he's just holding this basement. Looks like he's probably just going to try to confirm Angels, is what I'm guessing. Just confirm him to second. And that way, once he gets pulled out, he can just tunnel him out really quickly, in which case a 3v1 versus Singularity is one of the toughest 3v1s to get out of and get escapes on, in my opinion, just because of the pressure that he can mount, especially with Dragon's Grip, Eruption. Looks like Nightlight is definitely has something in mind for once he gets into that 3v1 situation, just playing off of Eruption and Dragon's Grip for quick downs.
Most definitely, and especially as we saw the playstyle, of course, we try to get infects. The survivors need to use EMPs again. Then we just get rid of it. Nightlight is getting infections again, just keeping up the pressure on all of the survivors. We know that Note is still injured, for example. Angels got confirmed on the second stage, so Nightlight of course will play a little bit more aggressive now, especially onto his gens, is finding Note out there. And the question is, I think Note has nothing left, and with that this will be a down, but Nightlight will probably, and I would expect a slug coming through, but we are not seeing that. So we're actually giving up our tunnel out for now to get another fresh hook, which is, I would say, quite surprising, but Nightlight most definitely does have a plan in the back of his mind, and as we see a few gens in the area, I definitely maybe also know what the plan here is. The hook into the 3-gen, and with that TREMOR really needs to break one of these gens to get rid of the 3-gen.
Yeah, we see Nightlight actually getting a quick teleport onto Jaw here, decides to use his pop eruption to get that gen regressing and potentially get a down on it. He's gonna take chase on Zaphis here. Hasn't spotted Angels, but I'm assuming that he's gonna looks like he's gonna try to just defend this area. He's gonna be able to get the tag onto Jaw. Is this going to be enough
I
to get a
think.
quick down?
What a hit! I mean, of course, we're on cross ping. We always need to remember that, especially with Eternal versus TREMOR. TREMOR is an NA team, and of course Eternal is an EU team, so we will see some more scuffed hits, but that is only due to cross ping, and that's totally normal. Ja now being hooked probably again, just into the free gen. This gen was popped and erupted, so this gen won't pop in the near future, but this gen for that now seems quite dangerous, but of course the beautiful combo Dragon Squid Eruption and Pop Goes to Visages will probably destroy the whole progress that has been made onto this gen. Really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, and we see Nightlight starting to spread out the hooks. Actually, I believe he found Angels there, and they were able to get the pod removed from him with the EMPs, but Nightlight quickly able to get
What
really
the
quickly
hit!
able to use his pods to get Angels reinfected and downed again. So this is not looking good for Team Tremor. Sorry, I was about to call them Ascent. Technically, this is the Ascent roster, but I believe they went under a bit of a name change mid-season. And with that, Angels is going to be taken out of the trial at 2 gens remaining with 2 injures.
What?
And this is going to be another down onto Nodes.
Ain't no
and
way!
I think Tremor is in the worst position that they could possibly be in here at this moment.
Most definitely. Well, this grab was definitely something that no one of us expected, and especially not Node. He just wanted to get an EMP, get rid of his infection, but nothing happened, and he just got grabbed out of the crane window. Really, really unfortunate. And of course, as you said, this of course is the new Ascent roster, but they signed up with TREMOR, so I think they will keep the name for this tournament, and after that will be named Ascent in future events of the Wave League. I would assume so. And of course now we see Chemical Trap actually being in play, which is quite funny, I would say. And Safa's also going for the... oh, please don't do it again, no.
Here we have Noda going for the same EMP, bro. Please, do not get grabbed again. I swear.
Oh no!
Yeah, did you notice... Did you notice earlier, I think he slow vaulted that. You know what do you think was going on there earlier when he got grabbed? I feel like that should have been an easy medium vault.
I think so as well. Maybe he just let go of his shift or whatever is his sprint button before he vaulted, and hence this is why he then slow vaulted. And of course Nightlight then got the grab. You see attack coming through onto Saf. Of course we don't have Sloppy, so it's not that hard to actually maybe try to get a reset, but still, of course, in a 3-1 situation with 2 people infected against a single, which is Nightlight, 3 injuries are really, really dangerous, and a 3-man slug can happen sooner than you might think.
Yeah, but you see Nightlight hops into his cams even when he has a survivor just a few feet away from him. You can really tell that he's trying to achieve a 4K2 result here, and I think, I mean, with 2 out of the 3 survivors remaining, he's in a great spot, and Jaw is actually going to be caught lacking a little bit. Is not able to make the pallet in time, so that's going to be another multi-eruption proc, and I'm not sure how the generator progress is looking, but I can only imagine that it's not very high at the moment.
Most definitely. That grab really just... It took a little bit of the momentum of TREMOR, I would say, because they were actually playing really, really well, and they still are, but the problem is just with the grab happening onto Node, and especially the quick chase against Angels, so much pressure just dropped onto TREMOR that even with a good play style, they could not handle the pressure, and they could not nullify it with everything, and now they're just in a really, really bad spot, in a really, really bad 3v1 situation. They need to somehow maybe get one more gen done, and it's TREMOR, right? They can do it. It's just that they need to do it somehow to get the best possible result for probably Angels, I would say, who will be playing single later on.
Yeah, and these resources are starting to be stretched a little thin. I know there's a few pallets left on the map, but with the way that Nightlight's been just kind of eating through everything, the survivors are really don't have much left, many safe tiles left to play with. So, and now it's gonna go down. Oh, Nightlight with a bit of a misclick there, and Jaw's gonna obviously body block this to prevent another double slug. But Nightlight is just gonna, with his great use of his pods, there able to get around that. Is gonna try and see if he can get Zaphis down. Actually, elects to drop chase and go for the hook. He knows that the survivors don't have much, if any, gen progress at all. So he's just gonna casually go ahead and take his hook, hook it next to the gen that he thinks has the most progress. He's probably gonna go ahead and kick it before he gets. Oh, actually, he's not gonna go ahead and kick it.
He's just checking camps
He's gonna
again.
try to see if he can catch some survivors. Yeah.
I mean, of course, now Nigel is going for... Obviously now went for the pick, because now we know also Note was Death Hook. So, of course, you rather want the 2v1 situation. Set off the 3v1, and what a disgusting hit just coming through onto Seth. Through the pallet, and as well just breaking it with it. And, I mean, we see the last survivor, Ja. I mean, you cannot hide anymore at this point. Try to commit for the last gen, and that is just going for a teleportation at the end. And I think we don't see the gen popping, and if we find Zephys now at the end on the ground, this will secure the 4k2, which is a really impressive result against such a top tier team as TREMOR still.
Was that gen out of kicks, Brian?
I think so, yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
maybe that's why he didn't kick it earlier.
I mean, it got kicked pretty often. We see Hedge, of course.
Yeah, so with Singularity, you tend to see at least one generator, at least one, run out of gen kicks.
Yeah.
Obviously, before that got changed by the developers of the game, Singularity could just pretty much infinitely hold a 3-gen, maybe even better than Skull Merchant, depending on the player, right? But yeah, now we're starting to see a little different shift. I think that's why Nightlight elected to go with that Dragon's Grip, just to try to get some snowball pressure, because he is only allowed a certain amount of kicks. But that being said, great performance by Nightlight. I think the survivors did what they could. Unfortunately, it was just not enough to get to at least the 4K1. But we'll see what Angels can do here in this next coming trial.
Definitely, and with that, we will be back and just after short intermission.
And welcome back to Wave League. We have Eternal versus Tremor in the second trial of the Singularity set. We saw that Nightlight got a great 4K2 performance on his killer game. And now we're gonna have Angels try to at least match that. It's gonna be a tall task. I know that Eternal is well studied, well versed in the Singularity set, so being able to get even a 4K2 as a tie is going to take a lot of effort and potentially a lot of mistakes from the Eternal side. But we actually see Angels get a great infection onto the Renato here, which is, I believe, is Spitz. And he's going to go ahead and take this first chase, see if he can get a quick tag. Spitz playing the pallet pretty efficiently to delay the hit as much as possible. We see EMP coming in really quick to make sure that Spitz can't be followed up on quickly. And Angels actually has a pod pre-prepped in Shack to get to try and get Spitz, but it's actually disabled as well. Very unfortunate. So now Angels is pretty much going to have to drop that, try to spread some pressure around. And you see he's going to go ahead and switch to Dan here. Dan going ahead and getting infected. Angel's trying to see what he can do now to get Dan. I believe he's not trying. He doesn't want to teleport onto him because Dan can quickly vault the window, as you can see there. Dan in a great position to be able to counter the Singularity. So as you can see, how I mentioned earlier, these survivors just know exactly what to do versus this killer.
Most definitely, and we see some beautiful vaults here just coming through from Dan onto the broken TNA wall. Just beautifully done. Now getting the tag. And we as well see a change in the perks actually. We do see Wound instead of Pop. Pop. I'm not really sure. Maybe it brings you something, but if it's cleansed early, you probably get nothing. A beautiful attempt there to hit Zaka, but actually not getting the tag. Really unfortunate. The pre-drop, of course, coming through. And now we're just gonna play the pallet. Ancient sadly not zoning Zaka, giving Zaka the whole map. Oh, some beautiful pathing here coming through from Zaka. Angels also playing really, really well, just pressuring all of the survivors. But as we know, at some point we do need the first tag, we do need the first down. And now getting the tag onto Zaka, and with that as well, needing to get the first hook to get the pressure rolling. And with that way, especially with the win con, what do you think about the start for Angels?
Well, it's definitely not the snowbally start that he was hoping. I mean, he still has Ruin up, so that's a huge plus for him. If he can get this down onto Zaka, which he doesn't, Zaka with some great exit lag paying off there. I'm not sure, but Zaka again, we're back into this position that was Dan was in earlier, where it doesn't matter if he teleports them because Zaka knows exactly how to position himself to avoid the hit. And it looks like there's another EMP, or at least a body block. Yeah, both an EMP and a body block coming in. You see the first gen popping off in the distance. So Angels can only give up one more gen to and be able to achieve his win condition. But the way that the survivors are taking hits and setting up EMPs, I don't know if that's really going to be possible. He still has this great palette that's way too strong to leave up. So Angel's going to go ahead and break it. He's going to go ahead and follow through another filler palette. Survivor is going to be content to just drop that. And unless if there's no palette here, then oh, there's another pallet.
I mean,
Unfortunately, that's just the nature of Wrecker's Yard.
definitely, and we do see another walk here. Oh, but this is a beautiful hit. Hardware actually was a little bit too greedy. Didn't want to use actually the pallet on 4. Decided to go to deep 3, which is of course the best possible dying spot that is available right now. So I'm not gonna judge him for that. Obviously, Ruin being cleansed as well. So what I would say is that we really just see the slow and patient gameplay on the serve side here from Team Eternal, with just a lot of coordination, teamwork, slow gens a little bit, but still slow and steady progress. Spitz here, by the way, losing the 50-50, getting hit. Hardware actually getting saved. So a lot happening in this trial here for now. Hardware probably is going to get tunnel outed. And now, of course, we do see the infection, but with that as well, the EMP. Another infect coming through. But we also do see Zaka just coming here through for the hit tank. A beautiful hit tank here being done by Zaka, and Hardware gets inside of the map a little bit, needing to find some kind of pallets. This pallet as well being up is really, really tough here for Angels. And Hardwell is winning that, therefore actually getting the vault still. The teleport coming through, and is this actually balanced landing? No, it is not. And with that, Hardwell will be going down, but a beautiful second grade chase. I don't know what you think about this chase, Ray.
No, I think he did a really great job playing that pallet when he was trapped in the corner of the map after getting unhooked. I mean, he obviously he had a body block to get him out of the situation, but a lot of great patience there to not overcommit to a side that the Singularity would have had an advantage on. And I like the little shimmy that he did behind the generator there at Shack. It just, even though it may not seem like a lot, it bought an extra at least, maybe 15 seconds, 20 seconds until his hook. So that makes a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. And now with Angels already cannot give up another generator in order to, ensure that he gets a tie. I believe he just doesn't have enough time to spare to be able to get what he needs. I think
wait.
he might get attacked here. Oh, he gets a grab.
He even gets the grab.
Eternal pops though.
I mean, that is true, but still, this is huge. Maybe, especially because Hardwell is dead on hook for the mental of the team as well. Maybe we get a 4k1 or a 4k0 if we find Hardware really, really quick.
Yeah, at this point, I think Angels just needs to try to play the best result possible. He already lost his win condition, but if he can at least, get a respectable result, if he gets a 4K, maybe that'll be enough to, have some momentum going into the next trial, which, mentality is a huge part of DBD. Something that you notice the top teams, right? For the most part, their comms are cool, calm, and collected. Well, you'd hope so, right? At least I noticed with certain teams like Elysium, for the most part, I noticed that their comms are pretty calm, Eternal as well. Even when things are getting into the nitty gritty when things are going south, they still know exactly what to do. They stick to their game plan. They don't let it affect their mental going into the next set. So hopefully, if Angels is able to close this one out with a decent result, that'll help their mentality going into the Blight set.
Definitely, and this is definitely what as well TREMOR needs, especially because the next set will also be their own pick. And with that being said, having the best mental that you can possibly have on your own set is really, really important. And with that, of course, the second set as well will be a Blight set. So, quite interesting, quite interesting. We love Ping Pong Guy. And with that being said, really, really looking forward into the second set as well. But now, of course, the first set needs to be played out to the end. We still have that palette, and of course, it's walk filler is a little bit annoying to play against. We are, of course, just going to kick it. We try to teleport onto Dan, but Dan is actually avoiding it really, really well. And Dan is as well just greeting it. And just running the car side. And then probably trying to connect back. So this is some beautiful pathing here coming through by Dan as well.
Yeah, Dan, you can see he's smartly avoiding the cameras for the most part. And I actually noticed that all the survivors are now completely healthy. Shack Generator is the pod there is EMP'd, so it looks like there's some progress going on there. Angels has to go back to check it before it pops. He's gonna go ahead and apply his eruption and Dragon's Grip actually. So maybe he can get something out of that, but I think the survivors are well aware of what Angels is doing, and they're well equipped to deal with, set up for body blocks in case somebody does get exposed. And we actually get Angels getting a free tag pretty much onto Dan. If he's able to follow this up with a quick down, maybe he can stop Shack Gen from popping and, potentially go from there. But it looks like Dan's going full corner. Angels is probably going to want a slug, but I know that it's not EMP'd.
It is actually not, and with that we get the teleport onto Shack quite easily. But what I'm a little bit worried about, Ray, is that we haven't seen Hardware for quite a bit. Where could he be, or what is Hardware actually doing?
So Hardwell is probably on another gen, or maybe he's on EMP duty, one of the two. Usually Eternal likes to, I would say they usually try to split gen pressure just so they don't put all their eggs in one basket. So if Shag Gen doesn't pop, I'd imagine that Hardwell's probably working that gen that's close to the crane tile. But
most definitely he has been working on a different gen.
Crane tile.
Well,
yeah. A different gen nonetheless.
Definitely, and with that, because I was a little bit worried about Angels actually not checking any of the other gens that much, and I haven't seen Hardware for a bit, and I was like, maybe, just maybe, he's actually on 4. And then of course Angels looked into it just a tiny bit too late, and with that actually getting free state, which is a huge performance here being done by the survivors of Team Eternal, but as well also Angels has done a really, really great job and try to get the best possible result for Team TREMOR to keep up with the mental. And with that being said, we will be back in just after a short intermission with the second set, which will be the Blight. So please stay tuned.
Alrighty, welcome back to Wave League. Eternal versus TREMOR, and after we saw Eternal take the first set, which was Singularity, we are now switching over to Angels, playing the Blight for Team TREMOR, trying to get the set win and get this game going into tiebreaker.
What?
Is actually able to get a crazy hit through the pallet onto Spitz here. I don't think Spitz's German ping was paid quite off there. We'll see if Angels he's able to follow it up with a quick down as well.
Damn.
So this is just the start that you needed to get momentum back on your side after Eternal completely dominated that first set. So, what do you think about Angel's strategy going into this this set now that he got the quick down?
Well, I mean, that was definitely something, and as well with the tree placement that Angels had there, that just, of course, Angels knowing, okay, there's a tree, by the way, getting stunned, stupid. Just knowing all of that It's just, I mean, he has been practicing Blight then, like, recently. He's playing really, really good. He has the quick down, and with that, all of the doors are open for him. He can make a 4K2, 4K1. Definitely possible with that. But we also do need to remember as well, of course, it's Angels on Blight, but it's also Eternal on Surf, so it will be just two giants clashing onto each other, and we know that both teams, even in desperate situations, do have clear comms. They will be making sharp decisions, and they will make the best out of it. So I'm really, really excited to see how Eternal will be responding to the quick down that Angels had.
Yeah, and if you notice, he has 4 gens bottom side, and he does have a 3 gen top, and we're actually going to see Eternal going in for the save. That was actually the next question I was going to ask you, Brian. Like, what do you think Eternal's strategy was going into the that first down? Do they just have like everybody kind of work gens, and then somebody go in later, or if you had somebody stealthing right away? But that answered my question. Looks like they had somebody ready to get that pull, and Angel's going to go ahead and try to get follow that pull up with a down, but Spit's doing a decent job of avoiding the quick down here, and there's going to be a body block just to help Spitz make bottom a little more. We'll see if that's enough to keep Spitz upright. Angel's doing a bit of bump
Oh
here. We'll
no!
be able to. No, the back bump.
Just a little bit missing it, and therefore not getting the swing as well. This is so unfortunate. Hardwell as well getting picked, or maybe even an unbreakable. Will we see a DH coming through onto Spitz, of course? Who would have guessed it?
It's
DH.
running the chill build as always.
As always. The second gen popping onto bottom side, and now this is what I just mean, of course. Because Eternal, even though it was a really, really quick down, Eternal somehow manages to... I mean, they pop 2 gens on bottom, there's no 3 gen. Spitz is bottom, and with that, they're in a great spot again. And I think just like the secret to that was actually going for the 1-for-1, protecting Spitz, Spitz hitting the DH, and not letting him go second, right? Because with that, he would have a whole stage less, and this obviously also means 1 DH less, which we don't want. We of course want Spitz to maybe try to use DH twice, get a good chase, and then after that a great chase again. We do see a quick pull though incoming, so the 1-for-1 is something that you normally also don't do. You maybe try to split 3 gens, pop 3 gens, and then go for the save. But we do saw a 1-for-1, and we do saw an insta-save. So I'm really, really excited to see how Angels will be reacting to that, because Angels need to get some kind of pressure again to keep Eternal just... I mean, I would say on the leash, but because...
Ooh.
Great flick, by the way, there. So, Angels just needs to do something.
Hit.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, Spitz got FTP'd here, so if Spitz was able to stealth that out, have Doc take a bit of aggro there, then maybe that would have been lights out for Team TREMOR here. But the fact that Angels found him is huge. The only question is he gonna be able to tunnel him out before all the gens pop? He obviously put eruption on that last gen, so it really... And it is enough. Spitz decides to vault the window. I just held my breath there. I'm sorry, for half a second waiting to see what was going to happen. I thought Spitz was honestly going to fake the window and go for a cheeky dead hard there, but he decides to send it through the window, trying to... putting more faith on his low ping, German ping, but again, it wasn't enough. And I see a reset happening there in the background. Not sure if that was a medkit or not, but Angels' map is fully split in terms of gens, I believe. If Angels is probably not going to be able to prevent all the gens from popping here, so I mean, unless he's able to get a quick down and go on a rampage with some slugs, then maybe he can put something together. Hardwell was the one that pulled first, I believe, so this is likely the Deliverance player, which, if that's the case, I don't think he's been hooked yet, right?
He hasn't been. We have 3 stages. All of the 3 stages are Spitz himself.
Yeah. Yeah, so this probably the Deliverance player. I'd be shocked if it was Spitz, but getting this hook may not mean much in the grand scheme of things. Especially you have 2 gens bottom. Somebody is probably just working that uncontested. So if Angels decides to look for this player here, he's gonna be wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, I think we got an eternal skill check over there. Deli being used. We now know that there's someone actually on 1, someone on 7, and of course we know where Hardwell is. Therefore, a beautiful stun coming in from Hardwell. Beautifully done, especially on that ping. That's not easy to do, and Angels now, of course, will be checking onto 7, especially after the failed skill check. Of course, we're gonna pre-leave that. We're just gonna swing at the gen, plus 10 metal. I don't know what the gen did, but we definitely did hit that. And we actually spot Dan.
And Dan has this God Filler here, and actually does not prevent the tag. So Angels does have Eruption on the top gen. If he's able to get Dan here, he can slug him.
Oh!
Oh,
But,
Dan reads it perfectly and does not get hit. This should be a down. Okay, so now Angels, what does he do? I mean, he's gonna have to go check on his top gen because there's 2 people at minimum that can be working on it, right? So he's gonna go check. He sees the Eruption. I think there's just one. There's one proc here. So this means that likely there's another Eternal Survivor trying to rotate bottom. And will Angel
no, what?
is not able to get the down. The crouch
How?
tech. The crouch tech bought Hardwell some time here to be for the pickup to come through on Dan. I'm sure we'll probably see that come through any second now, unless this was a 1000 IQ bait and there's somebody working the gen here.
I think it was not. I think it was not Ray. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I think they're just going for the pickup there.
Okay. Yeah. So Dan gets picked up. Oh, and Angel's
Beautiful down.
Great bump logic there to be able to get through that little doorway. I know a lot of Blights have had trouble. I feel like there's been some recent changes, right, with the bump logic, back bumps happening a lot more often now. Dan gets healed, so Angels might actually be able to recover this if he's able to find the player rotating for the save. But I don't think Eternal will make it that easy. I know they'll probably just have somebody trying to crank out that last gen, and sure enough, somebody's already on it, wasting no time at all. But will Angels find? He does find the player rotating for the save, and this is not the UB player, if I'm not mistaken. Usually it's paired with Deli, but
oh my god,
he does get a hit.
What a hit.
Dan is not electing the trade, so unless Dan has a juice or chase here, then Angel is going to be able to slug and then go back bottom.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, I think, I really don't know, because now Zaka just needs to go for the pull, because 7 was not that far to be popped in anytime soon. And now Hardwell will also be deaf on hook, so we really need a great chase here from Hardwell, because if not, this could actually be the 4K1. Oh.
Yeah, and he is going for Hardwell here. I don't think this is going to be enough. He falls for the window fake.
That is insane. We do see the window fake coming through here from Hardwell onto Angels. The pickup already happened.
A bit impatient there, but it wasn't enough. Angel's still able to get the down, and is this the death hook? No.
Definitely. And this could be 4K1, especially with Dying Light.
Yeah, that Dying Light is actually building up quite a bit. I've always been conflicted about the usage of Dying Light. I feel like, Blight usually ends up tunneling somebody. If they end up being the DS player, then they become the obsession. Then Dying Light gets canceled, right? So
yeah,
I've never been a fan of the perk, but because so much is banned on Blight, it's kind of just been defaulted as one of the go-tos. But in this particular case, with the obsession being one of the last 2 survivors remaining, it's actually going to have a lot of impact here. But the obsession is the one being chased now, so we'll see if Dan can last long enough to buy Zaka some time to get some gen progress. There's almost absolutely no resources left after the breaking of that pallet. So unless Angel fumbles all the bumps here, then
and now he, of course, he leaves, of course, going to check 1, because I mean 1 could be at, I would say, 50%. most definitely. Uh, it's definitely high. But the question is, will we find the stealthing survivor? I mean, this is of course, this is the 3v1, this is the 2v1. You need to find the stealthy survivor that is on the gen that has been working on. And of course, we will find Zaka, and I think we have no more resources here left.
Yeah. And just a question for you, Brian, since you're more familiar. Is this still a scoring system where if they escape through an exit gate, then they get points for it?
This is still a scoring system in Wraith
Okay.
League.
So then Angels definitely has to try to figure out how he's going to make
Yeah,
sure that his death happens a little closer to the hatch, because
yeah,
otherwise Dan is
definitely.
going to be able to escape and get some extra points, which means that um, Angel's result would technically not be a 4K1, be more like a 4K0.
Definitely. Oh, we do mess up one rush, but I think
Is
it
that
really...
eruption?
That was eruption. But we do finish the
They
last
pop it?
gen. And I mean, this of course
Wow.
is huge. This is still really, really huge. Now the wincon is a 4K1. And it's unbreakable! It's
Oh, this is
unbreakable on
huge.
Zaka.
Maybe he does not force the locker. I don't think this will be enough for him to open the gate.
Yeah, I think it won't be. I think he will actually be stealthing towards 10 maybe. Trying to go for the pickup instantly. Or maybe on 12 now if Angels goes back. No, I think Angel will just be checking the top side now. I mean, there's no way he crossed already, if I'm correct.
No. I mean, Eternal always thinks like 10 steps ahead, right? For the
I
most
mean,
part. That's why they're a top team.
true.
And arguably the best team in the world, right? Like, I mean, for the most part, they have been. So maybe he went to stealth towards the gate.
Oh, wait,
And then
where went those scratch marks? Wait,
I thought I saw some scratch marks,
I
but without.
thought I saw some as
I
well.
don't know. Maybe your reshade is playing with us a little bit there. Maybe I
Oh
don't know.
wait! Oh wait, this is Stan. Wait, I swear I saw scratch marks. I think it was... I think it was a inner strength. Inner strength heal on main.
Oh, main, yeah.
Because
Well,
but how is he able... He
how's he gonna
can't really get
cross?
out of it. Yeah, that's a... He should be on main. If Angels... Yeah, like...
Well, he finds him.
He 100% was there.
I think what he wants to do is try to stun him on the side that puts him on the
Yeah.
opposite side of where the hook is. Angel's not gonna let that happen, obviously.
Definitely.
So yeah, forces the pallet down. They're definitely not going to break it from the opposite side here.
Oh! What is happening? What are those 50s?
Yeah, Angels is simply just going to, try to get him from the other side. Oh, does not. But he's got brushes, so I don't think this is enough. Yep, it's not enough. So it is going to be a 4K0 here.
Most likely. Just playing for the pallet standoff. And of course this will be the last unbreakable has been used. So, okay, do a spin! Okay, no.
Alrighty, right. But yeah, no, great effort from Eternal there. Getting to 4K0 in the 2v1, that's just insane teamwork and coordination to be able to get that done. So now the pressure is going to fall onto Ascent's survivors to be able to get some outs. I mean, I do think it's very possible. A lot of folks seem to think that Blight is technically outs now, depending on the rule set. Depending on how much is allowed regression wise.
Definitely.
But I still think that a strong Blight, especially one that's on Team Eternal, can definitely achieve a 4K1 consistently. But that remains to be seen. We will be loading into the second trial of this Blight set and figure out if Ascent is able to do enough to get it to tiebreaker, or if Eternal takes it 2-0.
Definitely. I'm just sweating. Maybe there would have been an out through hatch, maybe, or maybe a bleed out as well, because everything could happen, right? So we just gotta wait. Okay,
Yeah.
no. Okay, no. It's
And
all
sorry,
fine.
Tremor. I am so I don't know, man. I can somebody just rename them in the server or something? I don't know. Yeah, let's just sorry, Tremor. But yes, a bleed out would have been would have made things a little spicy, but
Definitely,
you know,
always. I mean, and
but regardless,
even if Tremor wins, I mean, it will go to probably your favorite set, the Xenomorph, because Team Loyalty is playing Xenomorph quite often, if I'm correct. So maybe we could get your
yeah.
expertise onto the Xenomorph set later on, if there will be a tie. So, with that being said, we will be back in just after a short intermission. So everyone, please stay tuned. Welcome everybody in onto the potential last trial of this matchup, Eternal versus Tremor. We are here with trial 2 in the set to the Blight. We have Nightlight now. And we do see a family party here coming through, a beautiful greet here as well being done. And what a double vault here coming through. I'm not alone with the win con that has been presented to us. Ray, what do you think about this? And could it be easy? Could it be hard? What do you think?
Well, the way I see it, if you're a top Blight player, you should probably be 4King at 1 gen remaining. So I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility for Nightlight to be able to achieve that result, especially with a relatively fast down onto Jaw here. So Nightlight does have a bit of an interesting build. Not really one that seems at first logical for Blight, but I can see the idea behind it. You know, I don't expect him. Yep, I don't expect him to stay at the hook for very long. Expect him to go for a lot of tags. Obviously, you know, once he commits to Survivor, there will probably be a calm. Hey, you know, he's committing to me. Go pull, right? So with
Definitely.
the perk that he has, if he just goes for his freshes, just like you're seeing now, the pull happened. He's actually gonna leave this because his perk will still get value if he's gonna bait it, but Note doesn't fall for it. He still plays relatively safe. Is gonna be able to make it to Shack and prevent the down here. However, Note is on the side where most of the gen progress started off, so Nightlight is probably gonna be able to does not get a tag. He's actually getting flared. Um, gonna get flared there by Zaphis, and
Definitely.
we're gonna we're gonna see Nightlight again. He's probably just gonna go ahead and commit to Note, try to get his down, and try to build up his perk value. Again, with most of Blight's hits coming from M2, I'm not sure how much value per se he'll be able to get, but we'll see how it turns out.
Definitely, but as well as if we have, of course, Nightlight, then not playing off of the normal comp rulebook. I think Tremor was just catching up, maybe. Guys, hold on, maybe he's playing something like Devour and then the totem got cleansed, and unfortunately, it was actually Devour Hope. So, one is up, Devour is gone, and with that, we should now go back to the old roots, of course. Try to go for our tunnel out. One is doing a huge ton of work. And now we do see Surface here on the chase. Surface has been doing a great job. Has been flaring Nightlight here. This time not going to happen though. With that, Zephyrus will be going down and also hooked onto the top side. So we did see some beautiful chases, and which also means that we should see some gem progress or also gem popping. Perfect. And so outs are definitely possible, sir.
Yeah, you could tell that Nightlight was trying to play for his perk value at the start, you know, committing to Note for a good while there on the bottom side of the map, or the Shack side of the map. But now that you said the totem was cleansed, well, that's going to have to change his strategy a lot. Now he doesn't have a tunnel out per se. He's going to go for the Survivor here in the mid map, but is not going to be able to get a tag onto Jaw. Jaw playing the structure very smartly, knows where the Blight can bump, and he's going to go ahead and take this chase back to topside where I believe there's no real 3-gen anymore. So all Jaw has to do is stay in this general area. I don't know if he'll be able to make much after dropping this pallet, but yeah, Nightlight is not going to fall for
That
that.
art,
Oh,
beautiful.
Jaw gets the dead heart.
That is such a beautiful dead art here coming through from Jar Jar, mostly in Tremor the Juka. So, beautiful performance here by Jar, sadly going down, especially due to cross ping. And we also need to keep in mind that Jar's actually the survivor that got hooked first. So, we do have a realistic tunnel out after Jar has been hooked.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that well, I would be expecting at least one more gen to be popping around this time. Nyla's actually gonna choose to go for the ace here. Yeah, ace just needs to send it topside because if he ends up getting slugged in mid map, all the pressure will be taken to that bottom side or sorry, the shack side where most of the gens are being progressed. I'd hope, and sure enough, Nightlight is going to check on them, but is not going to commit to fully going for a tag there. Probably expecting the ace to try to sneak his way back for a save here. Does not actually find anybody. We get another gen pop on the shack side, and if another one pops on shack, then Nightlight's gens will be fully split. He does have 2 generators mid map, which is kind of unheard of, right? A lot of gens don't tend to be cluttered up in the mid part of the map, but Nightlight will find the survivor here. I believe it is Angels, and Angels is gonna go elect to go for the trade. So all Jaw has to do now is try to survive just enough. Well, I was gonna say just enough time to potentially make a structure and then be able to use his death hard, but Nightlight is not going to let that happen. He is sick of the dead hard. He's not going to let Jaw have that perk in his back pocket. So unless
What?
Jaw, did that just happen, Brian?
It it most
Oh,
it did 100%, and it still did stall a lot of time, like 10 to 15 more seconds. And you said it yourself earlier, 10 to 15 seconds do a lot in the long run, and especially with that time. One gen pops and the other one is almost done as well. What a
yeah.
head-on stun.
So Nightlight does not. If this
Oh
one go,
no.
yeah, he's gonna find Note here. Unfortunately, Note doesn't get into a locker, so Nightlight is able to just immediately find him. And I know that a lot of players are against hopping in lockers, but I feel in the basement with so many lockers to pick from, it might just make sense to hop into one of them. No, at least one of the back lockers. What do you think?
I mean, especially if you get caught out, I think. Yeah, just jump in, why not? The problem now is everyone is injured, right? We saw some scratch marks on top. Like, in front of main a little bit, it was a little bit reddish, so we saw some scratch marks there, so we know that they will be going for the reset, especially also as we check the gem progress and it was close to 0. Of course, we are then going for a reset, and now this is quite the same situation as for Angels earlier. And the question is just, can Nida actually hold on to the 3 gens, or can he not? With that being said, the 3v1 starts, and I'm really excited to see, because this is a really close game. Both of the Blights have the most amount of mechanical skill, I would say, and with that being said, really excited to see how they are clashing against each other. 2 quick hits coming through, and this is Overcome, if I'm correct. And with Overcome, usually there's also Deadly, and we haven't seen Deadly yet. So we would need to go for a Slug.
Yeah, if the ace ends up being the UB player and is able to get on track, that might be actually huge. But um, unfortunately, there's no pallets here
Uh-oh.
anymore, so Note is just gonna take the down. And the only player remaining is Angels, but it looks like Nightlight doesn't have an interest in going for Angels. Actually, there's some scratch marks here.
Oh, wait! Nah. Nah,
Wow.
nah, nah, nah,
Angels
nah.
with the bait of the century.
Nah.
Nightlight just completely whiffing the fact that Angels did not fall off the hill. But it looks like Angels is going to be able to force locker just in time. But Nightlight is not going to fall for a swing there. He knows where both survivors are. He's
Definitely.
going to go ahead and hold the choke a little bit. Knows that Angels is running towards to the left, well, towards Nightlight's left, and the other survivors here holding hill. So is it going to be enough to be able to get the? It is enough to get the down through the window vault. So Angels is able to pick up note now. But with the amount of pressure Nightlight has, I think the 4K1 is in the cards for him.
Oh, what? And now we are starting to throw a little bit though, because we do saw the flick there. I mean, nice try, but still nothing is fully now. So we really need to be patient, play it safe, because if we mess up once, especially on Blight, it's the same with Nurse. Gens can pop 100%.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, Nightlight does need to be careful, but I think he has enough pressure right now. Right at this point, the survivors are just trading downs. So at some point, Nightlight feels like he's gonna have enough pressure, especially with Ruin up. That's so important. The fact that he doesn't have to actually kick the gens, he can just kind of take tags, slug, down the next person, slug. That is just buying him so much time that now he feels comfortable enough to just pick, and the
Definitely.
survivors are running out of hooks to give. So I do think this does look like a 4K1
Okay.
to Nightlight.
Okay. Definitely.
Okay. So speaking of blockers,
For sure. For sure. Nightlight here with an, I would say, insane pick here from the locker. Probably hurt him. I don't know what else. And I mean, Tafas is there as well. So
this
we're
is
just,
probably the deli player then,
yeah, most
or he
likely.
feels like it's the deli player.
Are you gonna Kobe or are you not gonna Kobe? Not.
Wait, is Ace fresh?
Ace is not. He should not be fresh now.
Oh, okay.
Because if
I was gonna
Angels
say,
is hitting second, what is happening?
I believe Zaphis is trying to do his version of a Q tech, but Nightlight is having none of it today. But
Yeah.
he's gonna go ahead and give him a quick little smack, put him on the ground, take his hook and the victory with this final uh, hook animation
We're
right here.
still
I guess
waiting
he's
for
just waiting.
Delhi. Still waiting for Delhi. You
I
gotta
mean,
hook
he's
him,
gonna wiggle
Nightlight.
out if he doesn't hug him.
Yeah, you gotta yeah. And this. Oh. Of course you're gonna do that, right? And Zaphis is now gonna probably kill himself in game.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! The phrasing there,
Oh,
Brian.
what? Yeah. He's just gonna let go of the skill checks.
There you go. There you go.
And
Use professional language around here.
wait, DS could be. Alright, he's mowing. I just wanted to say. He's just gonna Mori him now, of course. No fear of any DS with that. After that, we saw a beautiful performance here by both teams. A really, really great start here by Nightlight, and a really, really great recovery as well here from Team TREMOR, but then just Nightlight at the end quite pulling it through with the, I would say, quite free run he had at the end. Then the lucky lock, I guess, that we had at the end as well, but a beautiful head-on stun coming through from Ja. So with that being said, Wei, do you have some last words before we will be ending for today?
No, I mean, I think the outcome came out as expected, I would say. I mean, obviously, Tremor is a good team. Tremor slash Ascent is a great team in their own right, but I think Eternal in this matchup, the way they stack up against Tremor's killers, the sets that were picked, I believe it was just too much in favor of Eternal for Tremor to have a good chance of overcoming. But still a good effort on both sides. Angels, I believe, did much better. I don't want that to sound crazy or anything, but I think he did much better than I was expecting on the Blight. Eternal is obviously really strong versus the killer, so I was expecting, just because of how Eternal plays, for them to get some to get a better performance on their serve side. But Angels, great job with that Blight. So very impressive. But unfortunately, on the Survivor side for Tremor, didn't do quite enough to at least get that set win, move it to tiebreaker. But looking forward to seeing how Eternal does in their next match.
Most definitely. And with that being said, everyone, thank you for watching. And the next time we will be meeting each other in another winner bracket finals, which will now be confirmed as Eternal versus Elysium. Who is not excited for that kind of match? So with that being said, look out anywhere. We will be back then in the next stream with the grand finals, Eternal versus Elysium. Please everyone, stay tuned, take care, and we will be back in a more longer break, everyone. Bye bye.